as got a great show for you today. Of course, it's your main man,
Action Jackson, and you're rocking with the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390, and it is Mingling Minute Monday, so that means the crazy lady herself is live in the building.
It's a moment. It's not a minute. It's a moment. There are differences. There are levels to this Monday.
Tell them your name.
Gina Lamar. Gina Lamar is doing some great things. And speaking of this month, May, of course, it's Cinco de Mayo today. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone.
Oh,
and yes, okay. I see you over there. I see you over there doing the rumba, cha-cha, whatever you're doing. But anyway, May is also the kickoff for the African American Male Wellness 5K march that's going down on Father's Day weekend. So, of course, you've been hearing about it. And for those of you who are ready to register and run your best race, it's time for you to get those thumbs together and register. So when you hear the commercial, listen for the information. We got a great show for you today, as we always do on Money Monday. It's always our aim to send you back better than you came. So keep it locked right here on the Brunch Bunch.
This one live already.
What's up, Lester? Hey, everybody. Hey. Y'all did that.
Yeah, you just.
I'm positive. I started. That's why I was waiting on you.
No, not necessarily, because I only see me.
No,
Right, because I ain't on that yet. I was waiting on him. He was starting a new one. No, but it was on this phone.
What's up, Tanya? Hey, Jim. 32, 20, 52. Big Luck. Oh, wait, let's see.
What the other phone?
Big
That was
Truck, the Beast. I love that.
And get your favorite fragrance today. That's BE.
So good, guys, you know what?
share this live.
I want you guys to go on my Instagram, as you are now, later on tonight, because you're going to see the next episode of Tamara Speaks. We filmed it already. We did all 8
This
episodes.
the launch episode?
No, it's not the launch episodes. We're just going to show you some snippets. The launch episode is coming up. I want to take you baby steps, just like you eat an elephant. Little
Phenomenal.
So I want to shout out to Fisk University for having the dopest, always the bestest ever. We had a great time. I mean, it was a little bit different than we have had in the past, but you know what wasn't different? The fun and the camaraderie. So many people descended in Nashville, Tennessee. And for those of you who didn't go to an HBCU, and specifically Fisk University HBCU, you do not know the kind of fun that we have. I mean, there's some every year. I'm one. My cousin Helen is one. My cousin Gina is one. Unfortunately, she didn't make it this time because she threw out her back. But we called her every step of the way, so it was almost like she was there. But
DE. So there is a mobile.
no, it's not mobile. It's brick and mortar. Shut up. When I tell you, I got to shout out to the Tide Cleaner because I didn't think it was going to come out. It looked like tracks on my. Honey, they got that out, and you actually send it to a kiosk. You put it in. It's really like contactless. Then they
I thought clean that little tight spot.
no,
was
ma'am.
everything.
That'll be a big
Gina, we got 20 seconds. You gonna be ready? Or we need a couple more. Good. 20.
And they got it all out. So find the Tide Cleaner near you for the biggest, worst stains, and I promise you, they will do
Yes,
their
10 seconds.
thing.
And tell them Action Jackson sent you.
What's up, Fox
You
Theory?
Gentlemen, where Chicago's finest get suited and booted.
What's
It's Monday and it's time for your mingling moment with Gina Lamar.
But of course, it's Gina Lamar. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. This coming Sunday is Mother's Day. For our believers who do not have their mother for whatever reason, May can be tough on one's mental health. Mood swings can happen subconsciously. The reminder of not having a mother, the guilt of celebrating your mother when others have lost theirs. Whatever your scenario, take time to be aware and acknowledge your feelings, for they are yours and they are valid. This mingling moment has been brought to you by Women Exchanging. And it's also your month, right?
Yes, thank you.
Mental Health Awareness Month. See how that landed for you, Will?
Go to commercial. Well, that was a good one. You know what? And we have to really focus on that because people do get really sad around Mother's Day if their mothers are gone.
That's true.
We have to really keep those that we know have lost mothers, especially close
recently.
to.
Oh, yeah. Burying people recently. This is their first Mother's Day with
But
them.
some people grieve where it's not recent, but it's almost like they relive the
Every
recent
single
trauma
time.
over and over and over on those commemorative days. So we definitely want to keep them prayed up.
And you have to pay attention because it comes up before you know it, right? Like, it's been 25 years for me. Some years I'm fine. Other years I'm like, so I have to ask you all this. My sisters are always like, well, we're still mothers and you can celebrate us. I was like, you are not my mama. You better be with your kids and your grandbabies because my mama.
Where is my girl at your sister from Ohio? So
Child, I know she should be. You know it. That's the one. That is the number one. I'm trying to send her the link so she can join us because you know she'll be there.
Well, you know what? There's one thing about a mother that never goes away, and that's the love. I don't care what kind of relationship you have. It's the love that you only get one mother. I don't care how many other people are mother figures. You only get one mother. So we will be celebrating all month long. No matter where your mother is, she's just a thought away. It's Inspiration 13.
If he doesn't,
So that is one of our family dilemmas. We buried our parents double casket funeral. Same
You using this paper?
No,
I was gonna write down the song.
cancer and heart attack. My daddy was dying of cancer. My mother was like, I'm not gonna stay here without my husband. Right? Hey, Renee. But the joke is like, Dad, you know we miss you too, right? Because we mourn our mother in so many different ways, right? Like we find ourselves, and I know my daddy's like, what was our chopped liver?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 days apart.
That's awful.
Yeah, that's what it's been 25 years. At first I was like, God, what
You still feel that same? Wow.
Different days, different ways, different times, but absolutely it still comes.
Mr. Phoenix Rising, thanks for joining us here on Instagram on the Brunch Bunch. Well, you know what? I was talking about FIST. I don't know how many of you all went to HBCUs. If you did go to an HBCU, name the HBCU, put it in the chat. Want to hear about it, want to shout your HBCU out. Not only am I an HBCU alum, I'm also an AKA. I would like to know if you were Greek.
Everybody can't be a Zeta.
Everybody can't be a Zeta. But those that are, I want to know about it. You went to an HBCU. Now, don't put your PWIs in here, okay? I want to know if you're an HBCU graduate or a current student, and if you are Greek, meaning if you are part of the Divine Nine. That's Alpha, Kappa Alpha, Delta Sigma Theta, Sigma Gamma Rho, Zeta Phi Beta, and all of the male frags. Okay, let's name them. Omega Psi Phi, Kappa Alpha Psi,
GD.
Phi Beta Sigma, Phi Beta Sigma.
I thought you was about West.
I
thought you was a West Side or what?
On phone now.
You ain't supposed to say that.
Yeah.
So that was not
On phone now.
But a tell them
on
what.
phone them. That is a gang. That is not a friend. On phone them. So when I first started saying those kind of crazy things, I said on phone them.
Oh Lord.
And so one of my teachers was like, Tamara, give it up. Just give it up. But yeah, so you know what? My sorority was founded in 1908. My actual chapter, high chapter, was founded in 1921 on Fisk University. You know that the AKAs were the first sorority.
I know.
We were founded at Howard University.
That's why I made it like
as
corny
well.
when they was doing it. It was
And
like,
then we branched out to now across the nation and across the world. We got chapters everywhere.
definitely.
Oh, I kind of glossed over the fact that we raised over $500,000.
This past weekend?
Yep.
Oh,
And
well,
that's
that's
a
good.
flex.
Yeah.
See, all that,
St. Louis,
all that other stuff you've been saying, you ain't said nothing.
They
Now,
got
that's a
Well,
play.
truthfully,
I was like,
that was
GD.
less than what we normally do.
they gotta make
Now,
Kansas
that's a
City
play.
too.
That's what
Let me tell you, like, when you're looking at that,
Yes.
my high
cousin
school
from Wichita. Yes.
got our property bought close to
Oh, yeah, I got family out here.
That's right off
Yeah.
somebody. We already know that.
Weird.
But I say that to say,
I got
you
one of my
don't
cousins
graduate
from
25
KC.
Oh, wow.
right?
He moved to
Across
our
all
hometown
private
and
schools,
stuff in school.
totally
He
funded.
did not stop banging.
They talk like
Systems of
that.
safety
That
first.
shit is so
But what I
funny.
will say is, we were talking about the bigger high schools. Like, if you all could get some of these high schools to
You
build
got
these
2
great
minutes. How much time
picnics,
you want?
to put $100 towards that high school, we'd have the same computers that these other high schools have on the north side and other places.
How much time you want? We got
So
2
yeah,
minutes.
that $500,000 is
Just 2
important.
minutes.
Yeah.
Think about all the funding they're taking away from HBCUs.
Well, guess what? Trump just added more funding to HBCU, so we got to give a clap out for that. In fact, I'm going to shout him out on air because that right there was amazing to me. While other PWIs are losing their funding, HBCUs got their funding.
This guy's all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know
Trump.
he does it.
It was like a week ago. He was like, "Oh my God, Department of Education, I hate this guy." I was like, oh
He's
man,
just
like,
angry, right?
Hey, look,
And it goes
the man
with
got the
stuff.
right to change his mind, and HBCUs are the beneficiaries of it.
I think he just like playing with people.
Yeah.
Like the TikTok thing was the same thing, bro. Like, you know,
Like, he all over the place, but you knew that going in.
he gonna take the terrorists off in a second too. It's all over the place, bro. It's all over the place right now.
Well, I do feel like the terrorists were a power play, but we'll see.
My boy is unpredictable, G. Unpredictable, bro.
Play with our lives.
But we'll take the HBCU money though. We sure take that. Appreciate that, big dog. You know what I mean?
He's using the country as a monopoly board at this point.
Is it working?
I guess we'll have to find out.
How's the stock market doing?
All right.
You ready?
I thought Latricia was in Paris.
She's
So Shirley bringing Emma Mitz and somebody else.
All right, 5 seconds, y'all.
So Latricia is in there. I forgot about that. Has anything.
Come on.
I didn't want to say nothing.
On the Brunch Bunch.
Finally, Mr. Trump, I'm going to call him President Trump today because he made an executive order to promote excellence and innovation. And guess who was the recipient of such an order? That was HBCU. So President Trump signed an executive order establishing the White House Initiative on Historically Black Colleges and Universities. This initiative, housed with an executive order office from the president, aims to enhance HBCU's capacity to provide high-quality education and to increase their participation in federal programs. Of course, I announced if you're not on our socials, you get information on our socials that you might not get on air. But I announced that I was at Fisk this past weekend, so we were celebrating the fact that we will still be federally funded.
Yes.
Now, we talked about that, and then someone in the studio said, this guy's all over the place. He's probably going to remove the tariffs in a minute. Well, Trump says that non-U.S. movies to be hit with 100% tariffs. So on May 4th, 2025, President Donald Trump announced that 100% tariffs on all movies produced outside of the United States, aiming to revitalize the domestic film industry, which he described as facing a very fast death due to international competition and foreign tax incentives. Well, the tariff is part of the broader protectionist trade agenda and is intended to encourage film production within the United States. So industry reactions and uncertainties. Well, the announcement has generated a significant concern within Hollywood and among international film partners. Major U.S. media companies, including Netflix, Disney, Warner Brothers Discovery, and Comcast experienced declines in their stock prices following the news. Well, the lack of specific details regarding the implementation of the tariff, such as their application to streaming services versus theatrical releases, has added to the industry's uncertainty. They don't know exactly what this tariff all includes. Don't worry, he'll tell you. So the international response is that the countries that have been popular locations for U.S. film productions due to favorable tax incentives, such as Australia, New Zealand, have pledged support for their film industries in response to the proposed tariffs. Both nations have emphasized the importance of their domestic screen sectors and are seeking clarification on how the U.S. tariffs will be applied. I think everyone, every time he announces anything, not just a tariff, are seeking clarification. So, economic and trade implications, the proposed tariffs have raised concerns about potential retaliatory measures from other countries, which could further impact the U.S. film industry. Well, additionally, the tariffs have contributed to broader economic uncertainty, with market reacting to the possibility of an expanded global trade war. Well, analysts are closely monitoring the situation, particularly in the context of ongoing trade negotiations and the coming Federal Reserve policy decisions. Well, as the industry awaits further details on the implementation of tariffs, stakeholders are assessing the potential impact on global film production and distribution networks. Well, the situation underscores the complex interplay between trade policy and entertainment sector in an increasing interconnected global economy. You know what? Hollywood really has had their fair share. I say Hollywood, but it's not just California. Hollywood is in Atlanta. Hollywood is on the East Coast. I'm talking
Hollywood
about
is in Illinois.
Hollywood is in Illinois. But with that whole strike, they thought, okay, this is enough, right? And here we come with this. So it is shaking it up a bit. But you never know. Like someone in the studio said, next week you can repeal all of this.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how bad that's going to be or how good, but I'll say this. Illinois has doubled down on the film industry, and the governor and State Rep. Jahan Gordon announced that they're investing more money into tax credit and benefits for the film industry, and they're expanding it for game shows now in Illinois. So they'll be able to get tax credit. So if the filmmakers are going to be terrible for going out the country to do it, I guess we'll get more films done
in Chicago.
Yeah, in Chicago.
Which actually opens up a broader situation. We got actors in the studio right now. It's more work, right?
More work.
And it might be more per diems, like for per days, and when you have recurring roles, because people think that actors get paid so much money, and a lot of them do. But by and large, most of them don't.
Yeah. You know, a friend of mine, I was meeting with him, and he said something that was so interesting to me. He said, you want to know a union that on any given day, 95% of their members are unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what screen actors?
Yep.
Yeah.
SAG actors.
Yep. So,
yeah.
You know.
But I like the fact that we'll be getting game shows. You know, I'm a game show.
Yeah.
I was on Wheel of Fortune.
Oh,
really?
Absolutely.
How much you win?
$5,000.
You gotta go back.
I was on already. I was on. But I'm mad. I was, ready to win, ready to do it. I did.
Well, you might get your chance.
Win. Yes, absolutely.
You might get your chance.
I don't know, Gina. I ain't
no
clapping
deal.
for that.
We stayed in line for like 7 hours when they did the auditions at Navy Pier, and someone walked up out of nowhere. But after 7 hours in line, you know the people in front of you, behind you. We're like, ma'am, no ma'am, you were not in this line. Oh, I was right. No, you weren't. Everybody around was like, she got 3 grandkids, he's married. We knew each other after 7 hours. We were holding.
She got 3 grandkids.
right. We know everything about
Springfield because we had so many cousins in Springfield.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? When you're in those lines and you're waiting, you're in competition. So you have to be careful because you never know when somebody's gonna take something and knock you in the head or stab you in the foot. So you can't progress
to get on the game show.
To get on the game show.
We talking Survivor?
Oh no, it's
But I'm like, what kind of line you in, Tammy?
Let me tell you something. When I used to do like that other work that I don't do anymore, which is it was
you're
competitive.
Gonna have to give us a little bit more than that other work because
you know what? I'm not sure we want more, but
I know.
Anyway, we will have more, but of course it is Money Monday. And we're going to talk all things money when we get back. Y'all keep it locked. It's the Brunch Bunch.
Speaking of money, I was texting
Gina, can you hand me my mints back?
Those texts I keep.
Jeez.
Yep.
It's up 500%.
Shirley.
And they're only hitting everyone like $6.
West side in the building.
The best side.
How do you know when it's how did you know that?
When they text it to you, it's
you know what somebody said?
That's right. Absolutely. You are okay.
Somebody said we say the west side is the best side, but I'm gonna call the west side the blessed side. I said, I like that one. I like that one. Fade this out. Go to what's going on. And then when you do Shirley.
Where? What party did you miss that I didn't get invited to? Because I would have.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, we got 10 seconds, y'all. 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Oh, yeah. 8 o'clock.
Well, you said you were coming. I just reminded you at 8.
I thought you was going to send us your, I thought, this is what we thought. That when you sent us the address, you was going to be home. You sent me the address like 6:51.
We're live, though.
All right, everybody, we going in. We going in. What's going on? We going in.
Where's the action, Jackson?
I'll tell you what's going on. So what's going on is I'm excited that we'll be hosting our first Mother's Day event this Saturday. It's called Saddle Up for Mother's Day. It is a Western themed Mother's Day party. You know, everybody want to do boots on the ground.
Absolutely.
So we're going to do some boots on the ground, but we are going to honor and celebrate 100 women. It's a free event. It's going down this Saturday, 12 o'clock at the Care Center, 230 North Colmar. I'm so excited. We have partnered with the Kells Park Community Council, State Rep Omar Williams, Cook County Commissioner Tara Stamps, the Care Center, and of course yours truly, the Jackson Action Coalition. We have never done a Mother's Day event. We usually generally just stick to Breakfast with Santa because I know how to do that well, but we wanted to extend it out. And shout out to Cook County Commissioner Tara Stamps. She reached out to me and said, hey, your seniors event was amazing. Can we do something for mothers? And I said, I really don't want to do any more work, but we're going to figure it out. And God gives vision and he provides provision. So it is free. We want you to email kelsparklives@gmail.com to RSVP. It's going down this Saturday. And then before we get to the money, my church is a church on the move. We have partnered with Quest Diagnostics to help the community with better health. And so we are doing free biometric wellness screenings coming soon. Now, Tammy,
is that telling me how fat I am?
no,
Biometric.
well, biometric, and I probably should have researched a little bit more into this. My first lady, shout out to Dr. Shan, who is a real doctor, right? She was talking to me about what all this is, and I think I zoned out. But now that I'm reading biometric, if I'm not mistaken, that's those scans that cost a lot of money.
It is.
And they give you a real inside look of everything that's going on. So we'll be giving them out free. It's a 10-minute screening. It'll measure blood pressure, cholesterol, and your blood sugar. Now, it's not until Saturday, June the 7th, but it's only free for 75 people. And so if you're interested in more information, you can go to my.questforhealth.com and schedule your appointment. And thank you to Adam, who, he said the test, they provide a snapshot of your overall health. So, you know, I'm going to be one of the 75. So there's only 74 slots now.
No, 73, because you know what? My thumb has been acting like
Here we go.
No, I'm serious. Like, when I bend it this way, I'm like, I don't know what is going on. I don't know if it's broken, but I will know at Quest Diagnostics.
Shirley put her hand up. So we're down to 70. So make sure you go there and get those appointments. But I'm excited when we can come and give stuff back to the community. And coming up in the Money Monday segment with Shirley is none other than a community giant herself. That's Alderman Emma Mitts. So listen, as Charmaine from Uncle Remus always says, call your friends and your frenemies and tell them to tune in to the Brunch Bunch right here on 1390.
Hey, Mello.
I gave the song list.
Yes, that was a great show, and I've been getting a lot of calls.
So anyway, as I was talking to you guys, what? Where are we? Double? I'm still over there?
Giant.
What time?
Do
Y'all wait. Was Jason messing? I thought that was just here.
10 to 10. From 10 to 10.
She got one too.
It's for the community.
This Saturday.
This Saturday. Call it Mother's Day extravaganza.
Oh, y'all do a big thing for Mother's Day.
It's this Saturday on Chicago Avenue.
Okay.
Block the street off.
And y'all get the truckloads and give out all kinds of. That's gonna happen this Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta make sure we pump that up.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's 4900 block of Chicago Avenue.
What time?
10 to 2. What time is it?
Mine is at 12.
Oh, so that's perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
It's like if you're not done eating, you can just go back to the next one.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll be loose.
for 75 free scans, you could fill that up with your church and us.
Oh yeah.
I mean, take those.
That's
like $200
that's very important now because the food that we're eating are also
Juice have to
preserved and processed, and it causing a lot of cholesterol, high blood pressure, prostate cancer, sugar. You know, and even in young people, folks are dying now, and it's all because of the food.
Because of the food.
The processed foods.
They told me in November I had high blood pressure, and I had to start making changes. I don't want to be on medicine for the rest of my life.
So I'm borderline. And all that other stuff that we eat has so much in it. That's why people are getting sick and the health.
We're eating dead. We're eating dead.
You gotta eat anything that's grown out of the ground, plant-based. That's what you eat.
Yeah.
But you still have to make sure it's grown, properly grown. Because when you look at GMOs, right? Because the fruit, all fruit that's natural, that's organic, has 5 letters on it. I mean, you have to look at
we got 2 commercials we got to play.
5 numbers on it, not letters. 5 numbers, and usually begins with 9 because we have all that stuff that's genetically modified. So how do you have a seedless grape?
40 grams of fiber.
Seedless watermelon,
40 grams of fiber every day.
Every day. Most people don't get it.
And they don't know it. They don't know that. And that's the one thing, if we want to live, you can't do anything else.
You gotta change your eating.
We did a whole health show Friday. It was amazing too with Frank Kimbrough.
Yeah.
And talking about omega-3s and the fish oils and different vitamins.
Omega-6s. Because omega-6s are the ones that are contaminants and the toxins, and so your ratio should be.
We got 30 seconds, y'all. We have 30 seconds. 30 seconds, y'all ready?
Yes, we're ready.
Okay, we need a take my chug.
Come join us at Washington Park, where you can enjoy free health screening, a 5K walk run, music, a kids zone, and more. This event is free and open to the public.
We're gonna have to share it.
Dad, uncle, brother, son, anyone you can. Visit aawellness.org to learn more about the event.
You got 5 seconds.
That's aawellness.org. See you there.
It's Money Monday with Shirley Field and Latricia May on the Brunch Bunch.
Sponsored by L&S Development.
My parents did this.
Well, each and every Monday, Shirley and Latricia bring us great news building generational wealth. And last week, we started a conversation that was so important that Shirley said she wanted to pick up where we left off. Let's give a warm Brunch Bunch welcome to Shirley Field.
In the house today. Yes, it is so important to me that I invited Ebony Lucas and my Alderman Mitz to come out and discuss how we can continue to build generational wealth in our community as opposed to losing it.
Mm-hmm. So what were some of the things we talked about though?
We talked about losing your property after death to your children who are not equipped or didn't know what to do to keep the property. Their names may not be on the deed, they did not create a trust, or they just are not, their credit is not good to refinance. It could be an array of things, the reason why we lose our properties in our community, as well as property taxes.
Okay. So, right, Shirley, right. Keep going. You introduce your guest.
I'm gonna introduce Ebony, who does this as well in our community. Then I want Alderman Mitz is going to talk about a little things, how we feel about what's going on in our community and how we can help. And I'm going to give my number. They can call me. We're going to be having big seminars all this summer, starting this month, on how we can help our community not lose their property and continue to build generational wealth.
Because one of the things in our community, and we talked about this last week, you get those postcards in the mail, people calling your phone number saying, we're going to buy your house. They lowball you, give you whatever they can because you don't know the resources you have available to help save the home. And so that's one way. Or we talk about your parents die, you don't want the house, you don't want to come back to the community, then you just let the house go. Absolutely. And we cannot continue to allow that to happen. Because I told somebody this morning, I know where our community is headed. And soon as other people that don't look like us pick up on that, they'll come in and buy up everything and we'll be misplaced. So we got to be in front of it. And so Alderman Mitz, as the Alderman of the 37th Ward, on the Great West Side of Chicago. I know you hear a lot of these horror stories, but what are some things people can be doing?
Absolutely. Thank you for allowing me to be able to be here. But one thing I hear all the time is that seeing families lose their home. We're afraid somehow that we don't want to plan for when we leave here. Now everybody know we're gonna leave here one day. We just don't know when. But it's better to be prepared. And even with the young people, encourage the adults, the older ones. They've been used to being secret, but this is not the time. You know they're gonna leave here. You don't know where the situation is at. If they have a mortgage, where's the bank at? All the information in terms of account. In fact, go ahead and get set your trust up. Get a will. Do something other than nothing.
Yeah.
And just leave it. And then you got to go. Here's the worst thing that happened to family members. When a loved one passed away, now you got to fight.
Yeah.
Right.
The
And
fight
that's all
start,
too often.
And that's far too many times. And usually you end up, everybody lose out. Because then you walk away and then you left all what your parents done worked for.
Right.
So
You walk away with
let the conversation begin. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to prepare. Even, here's another one. When the loved one died, we don't have no way of trying to make our loved one be put away in a loving manner. What we do is we wait, and now we got to come up out of our pocket. We got to go ask our GoFundMe. You want to ask donation. You want somebody to give. If you love your loved one, then you know that your loved one gonna leave here one day. Then prepare for that. Even your own children, even with your children, don't wait until it's just sad that we do this and expect. Well, when I'm gone, I don't have to worry about it. But if your family members got to worry about it, somebody have to worry about that.
And you don't want to lose it.
Don't lose it. It shouldn't be that way. But I don't know, the generation now is the way to go. The older people's always kept insurance, but the younger generation don't feel like they want to pay the insurance now. And it's better to get it while you're young, because when you get older, you're gonna pay more for it. That's the other side to it.
My grandmother used to have an insurance policy on every one of her children and her grandchildren. Now, people think that that's what's final steps, mechanisms that were putting in place, but really it was wealth building, because banks, that's how they make their fortune. They take their monies that you deposit, or we deposit into their banks, and then they put it in insurance, and those insurance bearing vehicles generate them far more money, and it is for the long haul, not for the short haul.
Right.
So the remedy for that, because we talked about people losing their homes, not just because they don't want it, but they don't know how to keep it.
Right. Yeah.
So
I think we're seeing that increasingly because the largest population right now are the baby boomers, and they are aging. And as they age, they have needs. Either they need to move out of their home, they want to move out of their homes because they can't go up and down the stairs anymore, or whatever challenges they're having. And like Shirley mentioned, the families have no idea what to do with these properties. So when we talk about remedies, the first thing you want to do is you want to set up a trust. And that trust needs to make sure that you name the trustee, the person who you want to execute your wishes, as well as what you want to happen with the property. And it's important, we talk a lot about to first-time home buyers, and we get people excited about buying a home, but we don't tell them the next step. This should be done when you purchase your home. When you purchase your home, the next step is to get a trust and decide who that property is supposed to go to, and what should happen, not just if you die, but what if you get in a car accident? How is your mortgage to be paid? How are your assets to be taken care of in the event that anything happens to you? So it's really important. And what we're seeing is that, family members, I had a lady call me last week, and they have her grandmother, this is what they said. Everybody knew that grandma wanted my mom and my auntie to have the house. And I said, oh, okay. I said, well, did your grandmother put that in writing? No, it's not in writing, but everybody knows it, and nobody in my family minds. Everybody agrees. I said, okay, how many children did your grandmother have? She said 11. I said, where are the other 11 children? Because if they all agree, then they all have to sign off. Well, 6 have passed away. Oh, do they have children? Yes.
Okay, well now they have to sign off. And some of them are in jail and some of them live out of state and so it's going to be very difficult to find them all. So now what you find yourself having to do is go to probate. So what's happening is that our assets are being wasted because we're having to go to court and spend money on expensive court proceedings on an issue that maybe everybody does agree on. But the law doesn't work like that. The law doesn't say, oh, well, everybody agrees. These title companies, these judges want to know for sure there are no issues. And so you have to then file a case, and that takes time.
So can you explain trusts? Because there are several types of trusts, and just like you see on Instagram, they're educating you on everything that you need to do, but they don't go into the details. Let's get in the weeds.
Yeah, let's talk about a revocable living trust.
So a revocable living trust, and like you mentioned, there are several different types of trusts. There's a land trust, which sometimes people enter. I don't necessarily recommend a land trust only because, first of all, it only covers one asset. Second of all, it's costly. So we've had people that get ready to close and they don't realize that their grandmother got a land trust 40 years ago and never paid the fees. And I literally had one where we needed to pay Chicago Title $42,000 for a land trust that was established.
And that came out of the
closing. So it had to come out of the closing. Yes. So if you set up a revocable living trust, that allows you to put not just your properties, but also bank accounts, any other assets. You can make the trust the beneficiary of those accounts. What that does is it helps with tax planning. It helps with Medicaid planning. So it's not just about how do we get rid of this home, but it's how do we plan for our future when we're going to need long-term care so that our family, I have a friend right now whose father unfortunately has MS and cancer. She's spending every dime that she makes right now so that her father can have long-term care because he doesn't have the money to take care of that and he doesn't qualify for Medicaid. Well, how do you make sure that you qualify for those programs? One is to make sure that all those assets are not in your name. You've probably heard about people that they try to go to a senior home or something and they can't get in because they have too many assets, right? Now, if you put them in a living trust, you don't have those assets.
But it's not just that. That's very important that you mentioned that. It's not just that. It's just getting home health care people. If you got too many assets, they won't even give you a home health care.
Yep. You have to exhaust all of your funds.
Yeah, you exhaust it.
Yeah, exactly. And so then we waste our wealth, right? Like I wasted my wealth on sickness, right? Instead of living. So the way that you do that and the way you protect your assets is by having a revocable living trust. The assets are there. If you want to sell your property or spend your money, you can still do that, but it's protected. And it also makes it so that when you pass away, your family don't have huge tax consequences. Because, by the way, if you inherit something, you have to pay inheritance tax.
And so what's a revocable trust and how does that benefit people?
So that is a revocable living trust. And then there's an irrevocable living trust. So irrevocable living trusts are not common because you cannot make any changes to it. Typically what happens is that once you pass away, your revocable trust becomes an irrevocable trust, meaning that if whatever I put in writing once I pass away, then it can't be changed. But while you're alive, it's not common to do an irrevocable trust.
But it does have a layer of protection for any lawsuits or any claims. Is that correct?
No, a living trust in either aspect does not have that type of protection. To get that type of protection, you have to have a limited liability company, which is a separate type of entity. And sometimes people will have their limited liability company in their trust, if they are a real estate investor or something.
Okay, explain the limited liability. That's why we have this attorney today.
So LLC is probably what you hear it called. Is it's a formation, a corporate formation. It's how you establish your business. So you can set, if you're a real estate investor and you're buying property, you want to set it up in the LLC so that if somebody trips and falls on on the property and they sue you, they can't also come after the house where your family lives.
But that has nothing to do with the irrevocable.
That has nothing to do with the trust, right? Yeah. And the reason why we're talking about trust and not wills, because that's another question. Like, why are we talking about a trust and not a will?
About that coming up here today. A will can be altered.
Yes. Well, not only that, but a will is an instruction to the court. That's the best way to remember it, right? So if you want your family to have to go to court after you die, then you put it in a will.
And you're going to pay for that.
And then they're going to have to pay for it. So you don't want to necessarily make that your only avenue. Sometimes people will have a trust and a pour over will, meaning that if they have any assets that aren't in the trust, then they go to the will. But the will has to be probated in court, no matter what state you're in. A will is an instruction to the court.
So we have a realtor, an attorney, and an elected official, all the woman mix, right? And what makes this so important as I'm looking at it, because I want to ask the alderman, what I know you always have resources and events and programs for the community, and I know this is near and dear to you, right? You don't want your constituents to continue to lose homes, and they don't have to. What are some of the things that your office is going to do so we can start educating?
Well, we're going to start working with Miss Shirley Fields, and we're going to hold courses and meetings and education. Everything needs to be educated around. And in order for someone to do better, they have to know what it is that they need to know in order to be able to do better. So we're bringing out attorneys, bringing out people to explain this to the community. It helps to better understand how to navigate these situations and to start preparing early on so that you won't have to be left without the knowledge of what to do and what you need to be educating your loved one, the parents, grandparents, or whoever, what they should be doing. So it's about all of us, each one teach one, reach one. That's what we're looking to do, to help them be prepared. I just hate to continue to see us move down this path because we feel like we don't know. We don't have any attorneys. We don't have no one to share who we can talk to. And first, we don't know who to go to.
Right.
So we're going to put them in front of you so that they can learn.
And I think an important thing too is to make sure you have a real estate agent that you know, because you mentioned about those phone calls. So I can't tell you how many people call me and they're like, oh yeah, I'm selling my house. I need somebody to represent me. This guy called me and said I literally had a lady. She said, this guy is going to pay me $15,000 for this house. So I'm trying to move my stuff out. And I looked up the house and it was worth like $200,000. So I said, you know what? I don't know the condition of the house. Let's get a real estate agent. Contacted a real estate agent. The real estate agent went over there. They saw the value far exceeded, of course, $15,000. But because this family member doesn't live in the house, they don't care. But you might not care. But I'm talking to her and she has kids in college. Well, now this money can help you pay for college for your kids. So,
but you don't care because you don't know.
You don't care because you don't know. And so there, we ended up calling the guy back, and the guy ended up paying her $170,000 for the house. He really wanted it. It was on the west side. It was a beautiful gray stone. He wanted the property.
But he wanted it at pennies on the dollar, and she didn't know any better.
She didn't know any
better.
But
that's not lowballing. That's stealing.
That's stealing.
That's
a crime.
That's exactly.
But because they get the money, it's legal stealing.
It's happening left and right.
You know what else they're doing? You walk away from the home. Just walk away from it.
And damage the whole community.
It's
travesty.
It is. That's why we need to be educated.
Yes.
That house have value. If you can't pay the bill, you can't do whatever, and just walk away from it. That's the way you need to turn it over to someone else in the neighborhood. In other words, we're gonna continue to lose our neighborhood because we're walking away from it. And it's a shame that we can't go to these banks and pick up property in your neighborhood.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Because by the time you go, they won't give it to you. But they'll give it to someone else.
That don't look like them. And I had a guy tell me the other day, and I've seen it. And this is why
that's how we're losing our community.
I'm glad Shirley is talking about this because people have to start calling. Because one of the biggest things is these seniors, their kids don't want it. They need somebody to help them. So how can they reach you, Shirley?
I can be reached at area code 773-616-0906.
One more time for the people in the back.
Area code 773-616-0906. And we are putting together something this month because this is very, very extremely dear to me because I am a realtor and I'm in the industry and I see this. Before I came up today, I got a call about a grandmama died. Did she leave you a trust? Is it in your name? No, but same difference. But everybody knows she gave it to me. So it's and I see older men sitting in the house when I'm literally showing the house, but he has to go because the house has been sold.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it makes me cry. It touches me. It really touches me.
Listen,
look, I have
professionals with passion.
I have these houses all around me right now, and even I look across the alley. The mother passed away. The father died. The mother died. They left to the kids. The kids had drug habits and whatever. They don't lost the building. Building's sitting there now, but we can't find no information on it, right? But watch and see what happened if you don't hurry up and find who's gonna have it.
Yep, people that don't look like us and that don't care about our community. And it happens. The developer told me, he said, when you start doing work on these blocks, those people start walking up saying, "You want my house?" He said, "You'd be shocked." A white guy told me, he said, "You'd be shocked in the black community how many times people have just offered me their home."
Yeah. And the funny part about it, not funny, haha, funny, very sad, is that they don't really know what kind of equity is embedded in the house. So they give it away because they don't know. They don't care because they don't know. But then when you find out, that's why it's so important to have a team or resources. Because when you find out, if you were a drug addict, you might want to get off drugs with all the money you're going to get. Or you might want to buy some more drugs.
How did I know that was that?
Either way, it's yours to decide.
But it's yours to decide. Don't allow people to come and take our community. So here's what I want the believers to hear. If you are in a home and you no longer want the home and you don't know, call Shirley.
That's right. Area code 773-616-0906.
If you lost a family member and they left the house and you don't want it, call Shirley.
773-616-0906.
If you're unsure about the situation with your house, you want to call Shirley.
773-616-0906.
Shirley, you can't be shouting and forgetting to get a number. You got to come up to the mic. We got to get the people calling you because we play, but it's so important. Because I would rather people that look like us take the houses and do something with them versus you just selling it to people who are not going to do anything with it. We saw the lady in the city that the city sued that owned 600 properties and she was a slumlord. Exactly. And they buy the stuff sometimes as tax shields in our neighborhood to have tax write-offs and all of that, and they don't care. And then we were going to the alderman and saying, we want you to build the community, but she's saying I can't build because we don't know who owns these properties y'all leaving.
And that really is a long process to figure out. That's why it's important that you keep your documentation someplace where your heirs can find it. What I did this past week was put all of my insurance policies, the name of the insurance policy number, the contact person, and what it insures. And that is on my desktop so that if the event of anything that happens, it could be incapacitated, death, anything, my daughter will know exactly what to do and where to find those things. Because searching for insurance policies is arduous in and of itself.
Yeah, especially if you stress, you're already going through something.
Right, you're already dealing with grief. You know, when my grandfather passed away, we literally had to go to their house and go in all the drawers and look for all the things. And you're already dealing with grief, and now we're figuring out, trying to figure out his business at the same time. So it can be very frustrating. And you don't want your family to have to deal with that.
And it's also important that you put down who your attorneys are, who your insurance people are on that same grid so that it's a one-stop shop lookup.
This has to be talked about.
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to say, I was saying on the break that my parents died, double casket funeral, right? So everything, my sister, all their paperwork was in order. My sister would go and present and they'd say, oh no, her husband's the beneficiary. Then she'd have to present his death certificate, right? And when you were talking about, we have the realtor, the lawyer, and the elected official, and the case manager. Yep. The first thing on all of our forms say, do you have any assets in order for you to get home services? Before you can go into the nursing home, right? You have to sell off your things. So
thank you.
Well, take it out your name.
Yeah,
but there's a 5-year look back. So you got to do it before
do it now. Do it now.
Yeah, well, you know what we're going to do now? We're going to keep this conversation going. Shirley, I can't wait for you to come back. But Mother's Day is coming up, and I want to make sure before we go, Alderman Mitz could tell the believers about your big event.
We have a Mother's Day extravaganza coming this Saturday. It'll be in the 4900 block on Chicago Avenue, West Side, from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. And we're asking the mothers to come out. We're not discriminating against awards. It's open. Yeah. We want first come, first serve. Everything is going to be free. have food there from Mac Doctors. And also, you know, we gotta have Mac in the house somewhere.
Right.
But
Mac in the house.
We got to feed our seniors. Shake a Leg is going to also be providing food for us as one of the caterers. And then we got Black Men United who's going to be doing all the giveaways. We have 21 vendors who's going to be there as well to provide service for the community. And just community event celebrating our mothers and wishing them the best on Mother's Day. Mothers, you are important. We appreciate what you're doing. We want you to be successful. So we want to show you that love on Mother's Day.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of education, there is something that has been going on with me, and I'm sure other people are experiencing the same thing. Getting these toll fees text to you saying you owe toll, unpaid toll. If they text it, it's a scam, guys.
It's a scam.
It's a total
scam.
The text, the toll road is not going to text you about any unpaid. So the scammers are using AI to contact people, and the scam is now up 588% this year, and they have made millions off of the $6 that you are sending them erroneously. So pass that on. But definitely, you do not want to get scammed. We love you, baby Eminem. We love you too. Up next is AC Green. We do it all night long right here on Inspiration 1390. It's the brunch bunch, y'all. We encourage you to stay optimistic.
Hey, bye. It was a good show.
Thanks,
Great
guys.
show. Right at the end.
Today, Chris.
Terry says hi from Ohio.
Oh,
Say hi, Terry.
We were
Y'all,
looking for
thank you
you.
so much for joining in. We truly appreciate you. Thanks again. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same noon, power hour. Peace, y'all.
Oh, I did. I parked under there, but you know, I just have no sense of direction.
Oh,
so
no matter what I do.
I got here at 11:45. I was walking around the building. I said, I'm working around like aimless.
I don't want to share it.
You made it. So you made it. It was a good show.
Thank you so much. And we are going.